Hello, America. Welcome to another presentation of Under the Mackrosope. Today, I want us to take a look at the violence that is taking place at the hands of our youth. Yes, our precious youth. One of the most disheartening situations plaguing our country today is violence on the part of our young people. It is considered by some to be a public health problem. I get that, but for me, the issue runs so much deeper. It is a spiritual dilemma. It's actually scripture being fulfilled. In 2 Timothy 3:1-5, the Apostle Paul outlines what to expect in, quote, the last days. He specifically lists disobedience to parents as one of the perils. How has this become the, quote, norm? Back in the day, as we often say, we often refer to yesteryear as back in the day. We were taught from the Bible to honor our parents. There is also a mandate for parents to train their children to be God-fearing, decent human beings. Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. You find that in Proverbs 22:6. I'm a firm believer in the fact that you cannot teach what you do not know. So what happened? It appears that subsequent generations began to feel their oats and decided that they didn't need to do what previous generations of parents did. Accept responsibility for properly training their children. They view discipline as outdated and or old-fashioned and turn to the world for instruction instead of turning to God. Young girls and boys are starting to have babies when they are still babies themselves. The youngest mother that I can recall meeting in my education career was a young lady whom I had to prepare a class schedule for re-entry into regular school. After maternity leave, she was 13 years old, which means that she gave birth based on the timeline when she was 12. And no, she was not Black. There was an age-old myth that only the Black girls were having babies out of wedlock. The reality was the Black girls, more often than not, did not have access to or means or both to travel out of state to a distant, quote, relative who would allow pregnant teens to, quote, visit for a while, and after the visit would return home. There was no baby. What happened? Abortion is far from something new. Well, what does any of this have to do with youth violence? In a word, everything. That's basically how the problem started. We gradually moved from girls and boys who were not ready to be parents to girls and boys who know nothing about respecting their parents. So many of them grew up in the house with their great-grandparents or grandparents who made the same careless choices that their parents made and thereby, quote, learned to refer to their parents using the parents' first names because they were raised with their parents as siblings. After several generations of sibling rivalry with their parents, the drug and crime cultures became a huge factor in the lives of children who really believed and still believe that the world is against them and they must, quote, grab all that they can while they can, no matter what they have to do, including murder, to get it before everything is gone. John Locke, an English philosopher, declared that a child's mind at birth is a blank slate, and over time, the earliest experiences that are, quote, written on that slate will shape the person that that child is to become. So many children, for a variety of reasons, and being poor is not the only reason, get bad writing on their slate initially, and it is almost impossible to erase that bad writing. Yet, none of these so-called, quote, reasons are to be used as an excuse for violent crime. There are untold numbers of children who are born into ridiculous wealth, who begin life with horrible writing on their slate. And they, more often than not, turn to substance abuse and violence, as do so many poor and disenfranchised children. When the wealthy children clash with the law, they get to plead affluenza with little consequence for their crimes. And the poor children go to prison when they become of age. Parents, not community organizers, not the police, not community interpreters or interrupters, not counselors, and the like, should be held responsible for child rearing, because parents are the ones who are bringing these children into the world, many of them born as crack babies who are destined to be a menace to society by no fault of their own. Until parents are held accountable for their children, the only change in youth violence that we're going to witness is that the violence is going to get worse. Just another Mackian observation. Thanks for listening. Follow me on Facebook at Under the Mackrosope. You may also follow me on YouTube at Mackray. Please subscribe and share. And if you wish, you can make a contribution by using the QR code symbol on the screen. See you next time. And remember, under the Mackrosope, we take a closer look.